cognitive load theory and data collection. Just by raise of hands, have you guys heard of cognitive load theory? Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. So this is from Harry Potter, the Sorting Hat, right? How you may not think me pretty, but don't judge me from what I see. I'll eat myself if you can find a smarter hat than me. My daughter is in love with Harry Potter, so hence the Sorting Hat. The Sorting Hat was absolutely sure of what houses to sort students into, based on looking inside their brains, inside their minds, but it was often wrong. And this is where cognitive load theory comes in. Then I'm just gonna, there we go. I just changed the view here. So I only learned about, cognitive, I've been in the field for almost 30 years. And I've only learned about cognitive load theory like probably 5-6 years ago. And I read this quote by Dylan Williams. He's kind of the father of cognitive load theory, that it's the single most important thing for teachers to know. And that kind of changed my life because I will never, ever look at, a homework assignment, an assessment, a quiz the same way ever again. And what kind of the big overview of cognitive load theory, and I know you've all heard of it, but I'm just going to kind of make it very, very simple. The way I see it, I've read so much about it and I've done so much research about this. But if you kind of break it down, it's basically how our brains learn. And if we want to test what our brains have learned, we have to keep this in mind at all times. So there's obviously working memory. There's always a limit on how much new information is processed at one time, right? And there are no known limits on how much information is stored, how much already stored information we're processing. So for learning, I love this simple diagram. Anything, let's say we are assessed on something, multiplication facts, whatnot, right? Or we're learning about a new multiplication fact. What we pay attention to is what we process. So everything has to go through our working memory in order to get into our long-term memory, in order to learn it, or in order to show our knowledge. If we pay attention to other things, or if the task is such that we're really paying attention to how we are writing, or there's distractions on the page, I'm going to admit one more person, then whatever we pay attention to is basically what we're learning, what we're putting in long-term memory. And everything has to go through working memory to get into long-term memory. There's no kind of route around it. And our working memory is very, very short. We used to think it was about 7 chunks plus or minus. It's now 4 chunks plus or minus. And we can only keep something in working memory just for a few short seconds. So for some reason, there we go. So we're basically prisoners of our working memory, all of us. Another way to see it is that working memory is a bottleneck for learning. All new information and, information, whether we're learning it or being assessed on it, everything has to go first through our working memory and then goes to our long-term memory for long-term storage. And what long-term memory is, it's basically learning. Whatever it is that we learn, all learning is a change in memory. We learn new information, it goes into our working memory, hopefully, if we're not distracted by anything else. We rehearse it, it goes into our long-term memory, we do something with it again, we remember it forever. Okay? So here is where cognitive load theory comes in. If the task is such that if our working memory demands